While doing the press junkets for Deadpool and Wolverine, Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige was asked, what exactly makes this film special and why did it need to be R-rated? And he says, well, one of the things is that this isn't a typical R-rated film like a lot of other movies and what you expect. Deadpool and Wolverine, of course, is not the first time that Marvel Studios is dabbling with a more adult subject, as they did Werewolf by Night and Echo, which of course were TVMA. So that was a step up from their typical age range, which is mostly PG-13, and that's been largely like 95% of the Marvel Studios and Marvel output since, well, really forever. But wanting to talk about the R-rated aspects and talking to Deadline, Kevin Feige said that if you look at the broad spectrum of R-rated content, it's not all the same. And he says that that's the beauty of Deadpool and Wolverine, that this film is R-rated, but it's different and not a typical R-rated film. And what he's saying here is, if you look at the R-rated films you typically see in theaters, very often it's not comic book films at all. Instead, R-rated films are like horror and thrillers and things like that. But other films, other genres, other things like Deadpool, like the Marvel Universe, and like comic book films can dabble in that. And that there aren't many R-rated films that are like Deadpool 3 and the Deadpool franchise. And in this, he's right. Because, again, a lot of R-rated films, certainly like 90% of ones I see, are all horror films. And I try to watch pretty much everything horror that comes out because my wife is an absolute horror aficionado. So I see pretty much everything from the, smallest stuff from like making $10 to $15 million at the box office to the bigger stuff. And I absolutely understand what he's saying here. He's not saying that their film is better or something like that, which some people talking about what he said are trying to spin it as. What he's saying is that this film inherently, just because it's a superhero film that's R-rated, sets itself apart from other R-rated films. And that here, you're not going to get something that you see in a lot of other R-rated films, because here there's a lot of over-the-top blood, gratuitous violence, there's a lot of swearing, there's also heartfelt emotion, and it ties into a bigger franchise that isn't R-rated. So in that way, it makes this one stand out more. So, yeah, I think he's right on all accounts, because everything I just talked about is factual. Like, you don't see PG-13 franchises go R-rated for an entry, then back to PG-13. But the MCU will, and it's weird, but we gotta see how they handle it.